So when we found out we were pregnant with our third, and we had no reason to think this would be any different than our other 2 pregnancies, which had been completely healthy, natural births. And then just in an instant, everything changed. I was 19 weeks and 1 day pregnant. I knew the second it happened that something was wrong and my water was broken.
I didn't realize the severity of it at the time, and Olivia called and I met her at the emergency room, and then it all became much more real.
In the emergency room, they confirmed that my water had broken. Preterm, premature rupture of membranes. And essentially it means your water breaks before 37 weeks. That's the first time someone said, you're probably gonna have this baby tonight. And it was so scary and shocking. They told me to start planning the funeral.
It just felt like there had to be some sort of help for us at the time.
They said there was really no hope and just let nature take its course and we'll have a hospice call you in a couple of days. The night before that, I had put on Facebook that we're gonna have a baby that was gonna pass away. And so I just wanted people to pray that she stayed comfortable for the time she was in there. And when it happened, it wasn't any more traumatic. And through that, hundreds of people commented and just said they were praying. It was wonderful. Friends, neighbor's friend in Clear Lake had this happen the year before. And they said, you should reach out to them. You have to go to the University of Iowa, and just started telling me about everything and how it saved their baby, who basically had the same timeline. Monday, I called and I said I want my care transferred to University of Iowa. A few hours later, I get a phone call from Dr. Warnemont.
And I asked, so Olivia, tell me a little bit about what's going on and why you've reached out to us.
She let me tell a little bit of the story, and she just said, we have hope for you. And it was just the most, it still gives me chills to say that, because we hadn't heard anything anywhere remotely close to that.
With that, kind of talk to her about some of the next steps we could do to get her connected with the services we can offer here.
March 1st, we went into the hospital, and from the moment we got in there, everything was different, and they were amazing.
Here at the University of Iowa, we have options that other places just don't have, and part of that is related to how fantastic our NICU doctors are, and that they take care of a lot of babies that are born very early and are really pushing the envelope in terms of providing outstanding care to these babies. And as maternal fetal medicine providers, we're often caring for these women when they're in the hospital trying to buy every day they can of their pregnancy.
The outcomes at the University of Iowa NICU are outstanding, and one of the ways that they're outstanding is this huge collaborative teamwork we have with our obstetrical colleagues in maternal fetal medicine. And our obstetricians are some of the best in the nation at getting any baby who's going to be born premature the antenatal steroids within 12 to 48 hours to delivery. All that data streaming in allows us to have very good outcomes since we pick up things very early.
Wednesday, March 14th, we watched a movie, ate dinner, and all of a sudden something just felt weird. And I went into the bathroom, pulled the emergency cord, and they came rushing in. They made me call Jason. They said, we're probably gonna have the baby tonight. We're gonna try everything we can not to have the baby tonight. But I tried telling him that, and I just couldn't talk, and the nurses got on the phone and they just said, you need to get here right now. 1 pound 6 ounces is all she was. And they took the time to bring her over so I could actually see her in person.
My interaction with Kerigan first came about when she was 14 days old, and I ended up caring for her 4.5 months later when she was discharged home. So it was very exciting for me to see her at about 700 grams and then going home at over 4,000 grams. And to me, the unique culture that is very open to input from all the caretakers, but also we're very open to taking observations from the nurses and from the parents as the condition of their child. And the concept of stop the chain, whether that's the lab technician saying the baby's not acting right, the mother that's saying the baby that's not acting right, the respiratory therapist. The most difficult thing initially with a baby born at this early is making the abrupt transition from fetal to neonatal life. Kerigan was basically on a ventilator for the first 2 months of life and did well enough that she was able to come off and then transition. So when it was time for her to go home, she just went home on a few medications.
The day we brought Kerigan home was a wonderful day, something we looked forward to. In a way, almost a little sad, like we loved the people we were with. She came home on oxygen, and then she had this apnea monitor.
The huge challenge going home is that in the hospital, you have literally hundreds of people helping you care for your child and watching over your child and paying attention to your child. And you're in this environment where the baby's monitored continuously with lots of people to help if there's a problem. Suddenly you're thrust out in the world and there's no backup. And I think that is very shocking for the families to suddenly go with all this support and suddenly basically have to do it all on their own. And it can be overwhelming since many of the very tiny babies need to go home on monitors and oxygen and medications. So they're running like a mini neonatal intensive care unit at home. And I'm very impressed that the parents can do this, but they always do a fantastic job.
And you're trained all on it, in the final days that you're at the hospital, so they do a good job of walking through everything with you.
One of the fun and rewarding things for me is I do follow many of these very tiny and very early babies in clinic, and I'm always shocked at how when we finally see them back when they're about a month past their due date, how they just look like any other regular old baby. It's just hard to believe that you can be normal and perfect when you start out that immature where not a single organ system's working normally. Everything is not designed to survive outside of the mom. And so it takes a huge team dedicated to all these subsystems to allow these babies to survive.
My favorite thing is to have moms come back and to show me that little baby we delivered that just fits in the palm of your hand has grown up into a lively little person, and what a nice family.
Looking back, what if I'd never put this on Facebook? Like I said, I knew University of Iowa was a good hospital. I didn't know not all NICUs were the same. Nobody wants to think about what can happen if a pregnancy goes wrong, but we're proof that in a second that can happen. So I would tell people to have a plan before 24 weeks. Where would we go? What would we do? Find your nearest hospital, even if it's hours away, just know where it's at. I just always had that feeling from the moment I got to University of Iowa that everything was just gonna be okay. I don't think I would have made it to 23 and 6 if I would have just stayed home and waited. What would we say to the care team that helped us? Oh my gosh, they were just so amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you for everything you did. Every single person was so kind. We loved it, and we love you guys for saving our baby.